All right, second topic here. And it's going to be a bit of a video game talk. One that I've also wanted to talk about for a while, but I'm just going to keep using the excuse of it's not a BS excuse. It's actually like valid. Like I was moving podcast homes. So like that's my excuse as to why uh the at least these first two topics, this one and the one prior to this, took me a while to speak on. But this one, I would say male V versus female V. This one is one I wanted to talk about for quite some time now, even way before the Trade of Truth situation. Okay. That one ended with a happy ending. This one is just video games, so there's no real life, you know, hardships or whatever happening with this situation. Just a bunch of butthurt men who honestly look and sound like hypocrites. Um, I'm gonna add some, well, no, I'm gonna keep my notes what it is. I'm gonna start with the news as always. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, who am I referring to when I say male V and female V? These are characters on for the game Cyberpunk 2077, the best video game I've ever played in my life. I'm just gonna hands down, it's my favorite video game of all time. It's not the only one on the list, but it's definitely my favorite video game of all time. I remember when I first played it years ago, and I haven't stopped playing it since. I kid you not. This is not a this is not hyperbole. If you see my watch time or play time, let me just say, of the game, it is disgustingly crazy in a good way, if you ask me, but might be bad for you if you see how many hours I put into this game over and over again compared to other games that came out way before it. Even other games that are great games as well. They don't nearly as much playtime on them, from me at least, than Cyberpunk. And I'm not ashamed of that. But male V and female V. So Cyberpunk 2077 is a RPG. Okay. And if you're like, we know all this, shut up. All right. Maybe there will be a timestamp down there on, what's the haps of this or not. Nonetheless, you decide whether you want to keep watching or not. You low attention span having ass motherfucker. Anyways, so Cyberpunk 2077 is an RPG. It's a role-playing game for those who don't know what RPG stand for. And if you don't know what a role-playing game is, I'm glad you're watching this video or listening to this audio, but there's a lot of research you need to do on the gaming essentially before even coming to this video. So I suggest you do that after you watch this. At least watch this, you know what I'm saying? Run them numbers up. Anyways, so V is the main protagonist. As with any or a let's just say a competent role-playing game, the game will allow you to create a character for said story. Um, you don't necessarily create the story, even though in this game there are decisions you make that impact the story, like many RPGs. But in this situation, the character's name is V, so you can't change the name, but you can definitely change V's look. You can pick their gender. You can make V a male or female. You can even make them transgendered, but the game isn't necessarily going to count that as a transgendered character, but you will lock yourself out of romance options because apparently the romances are transphobic. And I'm just joking. They have a right to choose whether they want to date somebody transgendered or not. But yeah, you can even give your female V a penis, is what I'm saying. All right. I haven't done it, but I've played both male V and female V, and this is someone, like I said, that's put in mad crazy hours. You know what? I'm probably gonna put it on the screen of the time, for the YouTube watchers out there here. My watch time, because it's disgustingly good. Anyways, Male V is Vincent. V can either stand for Vincent. It's the nickname for the male V if you choose to role play as a male character, or if you choose to role play as a female character, the V stands for Valerie, right? So you can either be a Vincent or a Valerie, essentially. V is their nickname. V is the name that this character prefers to be called by. They only say, this is a quote in the game, that only people who know them real well can use their real name. So if you're not someone who knows them very, very real, like real well, like on a very, very deep personal connection, you cannot call them Vincent or Valerie. Me being their god, essentially, nah, but me being their creator, both male and female V, I can call them Vincent or Valerie if I want to. I'm gonna still call them V because I got respect for my video game children. But anyways, so the big controversy that has been going on and debate that I've actually seen coming, I saw it being a thing before it was a thing. People, because you could feel however you want to feel about it. That's a lot of things in this world. Now, in 2025, I'm not going to chill anymore. I used to call myself the prediction god. I'm going back to that. But anyways, so I saw this problem in quotation marks once again being a problem for certain folks before it actually blew up and became a thing within the gaming community. The promotion for this wonderful game is has a lot of now, let's just say, has a lot of promotion for female V. What really pissed off the male players of this game, not all of course, but what tipped off certain men of this game was, I guess, Cyberpunk 2077 does this. Well, they're doing a little crossover with Fortnite, which is another video game. Again, you don't know these games, you don't know what an RPG is, you don't know do your own research. I'm not gonna continue to pause my points just to keep you up to speed. You know what I'm saying? Have a chat GBT open, or Gemini, or whatever the case is, right? Anyways, so with that being said, um damn, I didn't close the fucking. I'm gonna pause real quick because yeah, hopefully this, yeah, nice. Okay, don't close. Anyways, that I was just on my phone for the audio listeners, but pretty much throughout the promotion, right? All these years, and I'm gonna say literally all these years, especially ever since the Phantom Liberty DLC came out. Um, the promotion for it has featured female V, again, Valerie, right? Um, the base model of who Valerie is. Again, even when you choose a female character, you don't necessarily have to, your V, your female V, or even male V does not have to look like what CD Projekt Red's advertised version of V looks like. It's just their base model of when they created the characters. That's what it looks like. The only thing that you cannot change again is their name. Okay. I couldn't change V's name to Vernus instead of Ernest, to from Ernest to, like, no, it's not. I can't do that. I can say, okay, V is for Vernus, but who the fuck is naming their child Vernus or Vernicia as for a female name? I don't know. But with that being said, again, a lot of the promo did feature female V. I personally don't have a problem with it. I love female V's voice. I think that female V actually is the better actor than male V. Now, there are moments where male V did show out more, and this is again someone with cajillions hours of gameplay. So, like, on this game. So I've heard their voices quite much. You know what I'm saying? Line for line, bar for bar. I've heard their voices. It's embedded in my head. All right. They both live rent free in my head. All right. And they'll continue to do so because I think they both got great voices. Don't get me wrong. But female V's voice acting and the acting in general to me uh was better, personally speaking. And I think a lot of this controversy behind this ultimately just falls down to one's personal preferences. Now, story wise, I think the story runs smoother when you're playing a male V, or it seems a lot smoother when you are playing a male V, which goes to the point for the dudes out there or the people out there who say male V is actually canon V. Canon meaning like that's he's the actual that it was supposed to be a male V, right? You know? Whereas CD Projekt Red, and I was just talking to Gemini, Google Assistant, about this. CD Projekt Red has not made it official which V is canon. All right. Now, one, they haven't made official statements. CD Projekt Red being the video game developer that has made Cyberpunk 2077, by the way. But they haven't made official statements. But one can look past statements and say, well, their actions say otherwise. And I will actually give credit to those folks as well. If their actions are saying we're constantly going to feature female V in all this promo now, one could assume they're saying that female V is canon V. And if they want all of their current up to date promotion to represent their game now, they're going to choose the character that they feel best represents the franchise, the game. And they constantly are choosing female V. Female V is now a character one can play as in Fortnite, also with Johnny Silverhand, who is Keanu Reeves, essentially, right? Um, Female V was featured in all of the promo for or the most of the promo, I'm gonna say most of the promo for again Phantom Liberty, the DLC. Female V was, when they do social media promotion and all this other stuff, it is female V who is all in the pictures, all in the videos, dancing and all that stuff, sometimes literally, but it's female V. Now, again, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just giving y'all an example of what's happening. I'm telling y'all what the dealio is, right? Now, one, like I said, one can possibly assume that simply because CD Projekt Red hasn't came out with statements saying female V is the canon V for Cyberpunk 2077. Their actions say that. One can argue that. But me in this situation, and I'm a big proponent on action speaking louder than words. But in situations like this, like when it comes to business, sometimes words is actually the only response that matters, not necessarily actions. See, I think the reason, and this is why, this is just all like speculation, right? What I think. The reason as to why they're pushing female V so much more now is because when they first talked about this game for, and this is a game that's been delayed like crazy, all right? And even when it first came out, it was buggy as shit. I got it on the PS not the, yeah, the PS 4, right? I was about to say PS 24 for whatever reason, but the PS4 buggy as fuck on that. But it's like, when it first came out, and even prior to that, all of the promotion was male V, all of it. You didn't necessarily see a female V. The only female characters you saw were the other NPCs who obviously have that one gender. You don't get to choose the gender of Evelyn Parker, which is a female character in the game. She's a female. There's no Evan Parker, or no, it's Evelyn, and you can't choose between Evan or Evelyn. No, there's a Evelyn Parker. There's a Judy Alvarez. There's not a Joe Alvarez. There's a Judy Alvarez. There's a Pan Am Palmer. There's not a Peter Palmer. No, there's a Pan Am Palmer. So it's like there are female characters in the game. There are male characters in the game. We're talking about the main character. The protagonist is the one where you can decide whether they are male or female, okay? Or put a penis on a woman or a vagina on a man and get no type of romance option. Your choice. But anyways, you know, I'm not being transphobic. I'm just saying from experience playing the game, nobody's gonna want you. And it's not that they are transphobic. It's the game didn't render any type of situation to where a transgendered character would find love. You know what I'm saying? The lesbian character would rather have a woman with a vagina. The gay character would rather have a man with a penis. It's just what it is, okay? So people are allowed their preferences, even fake people, right? So with that being said, um, a lot of the promotion was male V at first. Here's the reasons why I believe that is the case, right? And I think it's pretty simple. Again, these are the reasons I think. I didn't get any type of confirmation, but the reasons why I think is the case is because they're trying to sell the fucking game to gamers who are very much sexist. We see how gamers react now. And I'm not, when I say gamers, I consider myself a gamer, but obviously I don't feel offended by what I'm about to say right now because I don't fit into this category. Likewise, if you do not fit into this category and you still feel the need to get offended, maybe because you do fit into this category. You could be on some, no, I just don't like all gamers being thrown into this bucket. This is a situation where you're going to have to practice. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Let it fly and hit somebody where it does apply to. If I throw a rock in the crowd the rock hits you and you say, hey, well, guess what? That rock was the rock of truth and the truth just hits you. Now, if it doesn't hit you, well, because it wasn't meant to hit you. But if the rock did not hit you and then you comment on the person that did get hit and you're the one that's like, hey, maybe that rock should have hit you too. Maybe it should have bounced off their head and hit your nose or something. Or maybe I got another truth rock that's coming for your head. All right. Anyways, so the promo was going on with Mel V because back in the day when this game was being promoted, was because they're trying to sell the game. Simple as that. Especially with all the pushbacks and the patience of the gamers waning over the years when this game was supposed to come out like early 2013, I believe, or like sometime in 2012 even. It didn't necessarily come out, and it came out, like I said, in a buggy state. It didn't come out till 2020. Prior to that, it was supposed to come out years. And if I'm getting my dates mixed up, kindly in the comment section, let me know what those dates are. But I know for a fact it was pushed back so much so that I even stopped following the news about this game. I was like, if it comes out, it does. If it doesn't, I got other games I gotta play. I was playing a bunch of other games prior to CP 2077 coming out. So it's like, I know. So it's like, it was one of those situations where it's like, okay, I'm not going to continue waiting on this shit and be disappointed. I'm going to continue gaming. But they're trying to sell a game. They're trying to win over gamers and say, hey, no, this is actually a real deal. So, of course, they're going to promote the white guy with the blue eyes and the short fade and the gruff voice, right? The all American white man, the all American tough white guy, which is the male V. Of course, they're going to promote that. They're going to promote that in America, and most definitely they're going to promote that all across Europe, which is also the base where CD Projekt Red wanted to get a lot of fans as well. Them being a European, well, country, oh, well, not a country, but a company that was founded in Europe, in the continent of Europe as well. Europeans, whether in the United States or all over the world, like to see white men in charge. Y'all said it. I'm just going based off of your actions, okay? All right, if you're gonna assume female V is canon based off of CD Projekt Red's actions, I can judge your actions as definite statements of, well, you only like things or pay attention to things when there's a white man involved. In fact, your actions today still prove that. There are video games outside of Cyberpunk. And even I've seen people say, I'm uninstalling the game because you keep promoting female V. I literally seen people say that. But there are other games, like the Gaming Awards was just a couple weeks ago. I forget the name. I think it's like Star Galactica, something like that. The game looks fucking dope. Like that game looks absolutely fucking dope. I'm definitely gonna play that game. You know what I'm saying? Whenever it does come out. But it looks phenomenal. But people shitted on it because there's a female protagonist with a bald head. You know? So female protagonists in general, despite her hair or lack of hair, there was a problem with that. Today, this is a game that was advertised in 2024, by the way. That's supposed to come out, if not this year, in the future, whenever that may be. So to act like these video game developers aren't privy to you all, I mean, there's a long ass history we can go over about how sexist the gaming community is, how sexist gamers are. And again, if I just threw that rock and it did not hit you, it wasn't meant to hit you. But if you're gonna comment on it as if it does hit you, I got another motherfucking rock for you. So don't worry. It seems like you want to get hit, you gonna get hit. You ain't gotta ask me twice. You want a rock thrown at your head, I'd do it. Anyways, let's not act like that's not the case. So CD Projekt Red, being the geniuses that they are, yes, I'm calling them geniuses. They fucked up for a while, yes, but they're still a bunch of great developers, great game creators. I've never really played the Witcher series. This new Witcher though is looking really good. I ain't gonna say it's looking real good, good. Anyways, so like they make great games. Is what I'm saying, and they're actually smart. They chose Mel V for the longest because, well, they had to sell the game. They had to sell the game, and they had to not only sell the game to white American males that like to say, "Yeah, white men in power." They had to sell the game to Europeans that only like to see white men in charge as well. If you want a global game, you know what I'm saying? Like they had to advertise that game and get the global amount of support that they wanted, and that they got it. And therefore, that's why I believe Male V was presented as, or seemingly, let's just say, presented as Canon V when the game first got out, when the game went through its many alterations of bug fixes. And then after it was fixed, people like there are a few people like me that loved the game even when it was in its buggy state. I loved it. I don't love it I didn't love it as much as I do now, but I still enjoyed playing the game as much as I could, at least. Now, granted, I caught on, I think it was the 2.0 or 2.0 update was when I first started playing it. So it'd been out for some time, to be honest with you. I didn't get it when it first came. Follow them wherever I can. That's how much I love CD Projekt Red. That's how much I love of Cyberpunk. You know, and a lot of the promotion for Cyberpunk 2077 does feature female V. Now, again, I personally don't have a problem with it. I never did. Again, I love her voice. Shout out to Jeremy. Let me get these actors' names real quick. Let me do a Google search. Voice actors for V. Let me see. So there's Gavin Drea. That is male V. I thought he did. I like the voice choice. Granted, the base game voice choice was It was cool, but I liked what he did with the voice choice, with the voice of Mel V, um, for the Phantom Liberty um DLC. I feel like he upped his game a lot. And like he still kept it like it still sounds like Mel V, but it sounds a lot better, in my personal opinion. But shout out to Gavin Drea nonetheless. I think the emotional moments, like when V, spoiler alert, this is just one spoiler for those who didn't play, but there's a moment where V wakes up, comes back to life. Let me just say that. And they're in the uh let's just say hospital. It's not really called a hospital, but they're in the hospital, and the doctor Victor Vector uh notifies V, both male and female, once again, no matter what you choose, that they're gonna die. Like you came back to life, but you're gonna die again, essentially, right? That's all I'm gonna say, right? There's the moment where the lines are the same, essentially, but I feel as though male V, again, Gavin Drea, and female V, her name is Jeremy Lee. All right. Um, so shout out to her, love her voice. But yeah, male V, I feel as though delivered those lines better than female V. So Gavin delivered those emotional lines during that one specific scene, to be honest with you, than Jeremy did. That's it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that is the only line, legit only line in the entire game that both V's share where I was like, okay, male V got this one by a landslide, to be honest with you. Not that female V wasn't emotional and anything, but I just felt like I remember when I first played the game, and I play as myself. So like I'm a male. I create myself in the game and all this other stuff. So yeah, male V, it has been the most of my gameplay. But if we're talking about delivery of lines, if we're talking about the acting in general, the voice, it goes to Jeremy all the way. Jeremy Lee all the way. It is no surprise to me why they continue to promote female V now that the game has sold and it continues to sell. And they probably realized gamers just be yapping. Them niggas gonna say shit. I hope they're not using the N word because ain't nobody black over there except for Mike Pondsmith, the creator of this, cyberpunk game or the story. But what they're saying is these gamers, these sexist ones, of course, and they're not saying anything. Like they're not doing they're not speaking with their wallet essentially. They can say all they can have this outrage online, but they continue to go back to the game like this guy over here, but he's not talking shit. They continue to buy the DLC. They continue to pay attention to the post. They will buy the next CD Projekt Red game, whether that be Witcher, Cyberpunk, or any other title. And CD Projekt Red is absolutely right to assume that because gamers have shown that to be not with CD Projekt Red nonetheless, but just other franchises in general, where they would talk hella shit. Oh, this is so bad. The same people who cry about 2K and the microtransactions, same ones constantly buying VC, virtual coin, by the way. The same ones who complain about Fortnite, a game that we that I mentioned. The same ones that continue to buy the battle passes, continue to buy the skins and all this other shit. Call of Duty. Need I say more? Madden, any other games where there's microtransactions or just purchasing of a game in general, y'all do all that crying. And yes, it's y'all, not me, because I don't do any of that shit. The games that I'm like, I don't want to support anymore, I don't support. It's just be yapping like I'm doing right now. But my yapping right now it's pretty much like on topic to this. Y'all are bugging, and y'all are lying. You're gonna play the net cyberpunk game. It might feature a male V in the promos again, whenever that game is, but that doesn't make it canon. On the flip side, now that the promo seems to involve a lot of female V, it does not make her canon as well. This is a RPG, a role playing game. You create the canon. I have literal like statements from, or at least brought up statements on Gemini once again. I ask about Mike Podsmith, again, the creator of Cyberpunk 2077. All right. According to Gemini, Mike Podsmith has not explicitly stated a canon V. He has emphasized that the game is about player choice and that both male and female V are valid characters. This is a statement from Mike Podsmith, or at least paraphrasing of statements Mike Podsmith made. Once again, Mike Podsmith being the creator of Cyberpunk 2077, the man that created the entire game story and the entire story in which the game is revolved around, as well as other cyberpunk universe type stuff within this realm as well. The stories regarding even that took place prior to 2077 as well. Mike did all of that. Mike and Artel Solarian Games, which is the tabletop uh, game company that he's the founder of. This is the founder and creator of this story saying, listen, if Mel V is canon to you, guess what? Mel V is canon to you. If female V is canon to you, guess what? Female V is canon to you. It's all about choices. It's all about personal preferences. If you prefer V to be a male, guess what? V's a male. The only choice you don't have is naming the V. V stands for Vincent if you're a male. V stands for Valerie if you choose to be a female. Not Vernisha, not Vernist, not Vern. No. Vincent, Valerie. It's just what it is. And as regard to how does V look, and also again, we can't change. Well, you can change their voice, but again, off-putting to your romance characters. If you choose a male V with a female voice, no one's gonna romance you. But I mentioned something earlier, and this is a part of my. All of this has really been a part of my final thoughts. Um, I know this has gone on long, but I had to say this. This is a topic that needs to be discussed long enough. If you turned off, you turned off. If you're not, kudos to you for not having a low attention span. Um, but like I mentioned before, the smoothness of the story for Cyberpunk 2077, me personally, it runs smoother as a male character than a female character. Me as a storyteller myself, a writer myself, and I'm gonna spoil again, say another spoiler again. It is what it is, right? But the character Judy Alvarez, I feel the character Judy Alvarez, her ending is actually the best when you don't give her a romance option. Even though if you do give her a romance option who has to be a female because Judy Alvarez is a lesbian, she's only attracted to women and she's only attracted to women with vaginas, women with female body parts, not women with penises and breasts or just a penis and whatever. No, not women with male voices, women with female voices and vaginas. That's just her preferences. She's allowed that. Okay. Now, the story of hers, and she's not even a main character, but I feel as though she plays a pivotal part in the smoothness, to be honest with you, of Cyberpunk 2077 in regards to not just the romance options, but just the story in general. Judy Alvarez, her being a lesbian, If you are Mel V, there is no way in hell she's not going to be. This is not a situation where she's saying she's a lesbian and you if you happen to be if she's open to experimenting with men. No, it's none of that, right? She's a lesbian. She views Mel V as a friend and a friend only. She makes it abundantly clear during the story. You can try to hit on her, and she makes it abundantly clear that she's not comfortable. Not only is she not comfortable with being hated on by men, but she makes it abundantly clear that Mel V. Vincent is just a friend. That's all you will ever be, right? So she ends up leaving Night City, which is the fictional city in the game. She ends up leaving Night City. She travels all across the West Coast. She ends up going to, I believe, Washington State at some point. Um, and I love that for her. I personally love that she didn't get into a relationship because Judy Alvarez, and this is just some character assessment or just me being, the writer nerd here, but Judy Alvarez is a character that does not need to be in a relationship at this moment in time in her life right now. Now I'm speaking about her as if she's real. That's just what we creative writers do. We speak about our characters or characters in general as if they're real people. Don't mind me. But Judy Alvarez should not be in a relationship, right? At this moment in time. I thought it was her ending is pretty much perfect as a male V. Now, I do like her Phantom Liberty ending, but again, she's married at that point, which means she's in a relationship. If she hadn't matured enough, because she's very much a codependent type of personality type, where she really depends on the person for her own happiness, which is it's not wise for any man, any woman to be in that type of situation. You know what I'm saying? What do I know? I'm the man that wrote relationship advice from a nobody, but that's just a book flex right there. Anyways, she is that type of personality. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's as Mel V, you're not able to romance her. You are able to romance if you are a straight male, right? Or maybe a bisexual man, but you prefer to have a relationship with a female character, as opposed to the male option, being Carrie under Uridine. I was about to say Carrie Underwood, but my bad. Ooh, Carrie Uridine. Um, but yeah, the female option for male V is or straight male V is Pan Am Palmer. Pan Am Palmer is straight. The character, the voice actor, shout out to I forget her name as well. Damn, but she's not straight in real life, but she plays a straight character in the game, and Michelle Lee, or Michelle Wu, I believe is her name. Um, but yeah, nonetheless, she plays Pan Am Palmer, straight character. Okay. You're gonna encounter Pan Am, you're gonna encounter Judy in the game. Simple as that. The game just runs a lot smoother story wise. Let me play it that way. It's not like gameplay is the difference between male and female. Um, well, I actually do think that there is, but we're not going to go over it. This video's gone on long enough, right? But I still got some shit to say, right? Um, Story wise, it's so much smoother if you romance Pan Am Palmer. Now, it could be a bias because I'm in love with her. It could be a bias because every time I boot up the game and I play Mel V, I'm going Pan Am. It could be that, or it could be simply me being the story, a story preference. That's the thing. There will never be a definitive answer between male V versus female V, who's canon, unless CD Projekt Red or Mike Podsmith himself comes out and says so and so is canon V. Now I've heard instances in the past where he's mentioned V as a she, and I've heard him in the past say things like, uh, he mentioned the male. like the like Mel V versus and Johnny Silverhand's dynamic being a button of, two masculine, very much male, like heads where they just butt heads because they're two alpha males. That's what it is. So it's like one can take that quote that he said about two alpha males button heads and say, well, see, Melvy's the canon because how can a woman be an alpha male? But also, again, like I said, I've heard him mention V in the past, and then he used the pronoun she. So I think Mike Podsmith is just, you know, doing what, the CD Projekt Red is doing. When he feels the need to promote a male V, he does it. When he feels the need to promote the female V, he'll do it. As long as they're promoting V, they don't necessarily care which V are they choosing. Now they might have it seems again, as I mentioned before, CD Projekt Red seems to have a preferential choice for female V. That's because I truly think it's not just an opinion of mine that I think her she delivered her lines better. I think it's objectively like, and again, no disrespect to Gavin Drea, but like objectively, she killed it. If you ever played female V, especially as a corporal, woo, some of the best lines I've ever heard in that fucking game were Corporal V female version. I tried with the male and I just didn't. It didn't feel right. It honestly didn't feel right. To be honest with you, it didn't have the same impact. And again, no disrespect to Gavin Drea, but Jeremy did her thing on that. With all life paths when it came to Nomad V, female V, Street female V, Corporal female V. Even though the voice is the same, you can hear there are very much subtle differences. If you're not paying attention, let me put it that way, you're not going to catch. Whereas with male V, he sounds the same pretty much. There aren't no subtle differences. And because I feel as though Jeremy Lee put in that effort to make sure that the Nomad V, the Street V, the Corpo V at least had these differences in dialects as even though having the same voice, being voiced by the same actor, she still put in that effort. That effort is rewarded with more work for her, essentially. More work, more promotion for the work that she has done. To me, that's promoting great work. And again, not to take away anything from what Gavin did. Emotionally, he did it with V. Phantom Liberty Male V, way better voice than the first one, than the base games version. But again, if he had put in that effort that Jeremy did and did a better job, then I think Mel V would still be getting the promos as female V is. They're choosing female V now because one, all you sexists are just yapping, so you're still gonna buy the game. But they have to put the best product forward when presenting the game. The best product forward is making sure if you're gonna have a V, whether male or female speak or just V speak in general, you have the best actor. You have the best person to deliver these lines. Jeremy Lee was that. Y'all can feel however you want about it, but like I said, it's an opinion. But I think it's also objectively true that Sherman Lee did a way better job with her role as V than Gavin Drea did with his role as V. Both did phenomenal. I love male V's voice. I love female V's voice. But loving a voice is just that. The voices are neck and neck, like straight up. If we're going based off voice, tie. We're going based off emotional expression, Mel V got that. Everything else, as far as delivering lines, delivery, dialect separation of V's between a Nomad Street and Corpo, female V blows male V right out the park. There are even certain lines where, like in the game, and I could go on and on. That's how much I love this game. I'm telling y'all, right? This video gonna be just as long as my playtime, but no, like there are certain lines where it was a clear indication that it was supposed to be like a either said with sarcasm or a bit of a downer type of tone to it, like a down tone. Mel V just sounded aside from when he found out he was about to die again, when he found out about Johnny Silverhand, aside from that, everything was one tone for him. Excitement, one tone. Sadness, one tone. Madness, one tone. Except for once again when he found out he was about to die. Everything was just super bland, to be honest with you. And again, I'm speaking base game. Phantom Liberty, Male V, love it. Way better. Or at least, Notch is better. I'm going to say that Notch is better. But female V is still killing it. Cyber via Phantom Liberty. Did I say Cyber Liberty? That's crazy. Phantom Liberty. All right. But she killed it during the base game as well. I'm just keeping it real. That's just what it is. And those are my final thoughts. Again, a long one, but I had to say that. Clickbait, you didn't answer the question, who's better? Well, I kind of did. I said female V is actually better. That's not to take away from Gavin Drea. You can go on these sex wars, these gender wars. Me personally, I love a good story and I want a great game. I don't give a fuck who the main character is. If it's an RPG and I get to choose and I decide, okay, I'm gonna create a male me, I'm gonna create me, a male in the game, then I'm gonna create a female character. And it just so happens that when we're talking about the delivery of lines and all this stuff, if the female character does it a better job than the male character, guess what? That's just what it is. I chalk it up to the best person for the job, right? It's what a lot of you Republican gamers talk about, Republicans in general, right? Hire the best person for the job. We're seeing CD Projekt Red practice that, and now y'all screaming. And I forgot to make this point. I meant to make this point earlier. I'm going to say it. I think it's very much funny. Yeah, this is funny that you got all these white men screaming about the lack of representation for male V. These are the same white guys, the same white folks who will say when black men and black women say we want more black characters, more black representation and all this stuff, say that we're making things about race, it doesn't matter, we're making a big deal about nothing. Now these are the same fools crying that Mel V doesn't get promo, that Mel V isn't at this moment in time at least on fucking Fortnite like female V is. Funny. It's funny how, and everybody does this, but white people are the kings and queens of doing this. A problem isn't a problem until it affects them. Everyone is making a big deal out of something until they are the ones struck with this said issue. Now representation is a big deal. Now that you feel as though male V, a white guy with blue eyes and blonde hair, has been misrepresented and underutilized. Now, all of a sudden, representation matters. But when black folks talk about it, it's a problem. When black women say they want to be represented, in a positive light in a video game, and black hairstyles and all this stuff, we're making a big deal out of nothing. Yeah, real funny. Anyways, that's what I have to say about that. We do have one more topic, believe it or not. So stay tuned.